Hello, this tutorial is about recording acoustic guitar. Now, acoustic guitar, like most acoustic instruments in the studio, is best served by either a condenser mic or a ribbon mic. Now, acoustic in particular, because of all the high harmonics, the condenser suits the sound best because it captures all the detail and all the nuance of the playing. So we've got a large diaphragm condenser set up, the SET2, and I'm just going to show you roughly where to position the mic as a starting point. Like everything in audio recording, you've got a starting point and then you move the mic or move the player or change the guitar until you get the sound that you want. There's no exact science to it. There's always a creative element. But as a starting point for acoustic, generally you want your player so that they're sitting with the acoustic and the mic is going to be approximately where the neck meets the body of the guitar and something like 18 inches away. Again, this depends very much on the room. If you're in a nice room and it enhances the sound of the acoustic, or if it's a classical guitar player in a hall, for example, you might have the mic further away to capture more of the ambience. As it stands, we're just going to use a cardioid polar pattern to capture just the sound coming into the front of the mic. We'll get a wee bit of reflection off the hard surface of the floor. In this instance, that actually is generally a good thing for an acoustic. It generally enhances the tone of the acoustic, so that's okay. That's about it. I mean, just set your guitar player up, try it out in this position. If it doesn't work, if it's too bright, try moving the mic that way so that you capture more of the body of the sound coming from the body. If it's too dark, you can move it further up here, and just be careful when you move it this way because you will get quite a lot of, when the player's playing, that sort of string noise can become very accentuated, so you kind of want to avoid that as well. And obviously with one microphone that's going to create a mono recording, and generally in a busy mix, mono is fine for acoustic, and you can pan it wherever you feel it sits in the mix. In a more sparse environment with a singer-songwriter just playing acoustic and singing perhaps, then you should consider a stereo technique, and that's what we'll look at next. So in a scenario where you have a virtuoso guitar player solo, or perhaps a singer-songwriter just on acoustic and vocal, consider a stereo technique for recording acoustic as well. Now you'll notice that I'm using the coincident technique with the two mics in the same plane. That avoids any phase problems that you might have, and it also avoids creating an exaggerated or overly wide stereo image for a guitar. That's not how we hear a guitar. We hear a guitar usually as a point source with some stereo information. So this technique preserves that sort of the reality of what we hear. And again, not much to it. I mean, you set up generally, again, where the sound hole, or sorry, where the neck meets the body. Just be wary if you go right opposite the sound hole, just like a vocal plosive sound, the sound hole can push out blasts of air, and it can cause a lot of low mid sort of muddiness in your sound. So generally I wouldn't normally put the mics opposite the sound hole. Just opposite here where the neck meets the body is generally the best place to start. Like before, you can move things around if it doesn't work. Just with this particular configuration, it's probably easier to move the guitar player slightly than it is to reconfigure your microphones, because you'll have spent 5-10 minutes getting those exactly where you want them. And again, distance can be anywhere from 1 foot to 2 foot away from the guitar, depending on what sounds nice. And again, just asking the guitar player politely to move slightly is much easier. Okay, so let's have a listen to how the stereo microphone sounds on acoustic.